Hi,
Yes.
welcome back to Wilde Speculations. I'm Daniel.
I'm Scott.
Tonight we're going to talk about Scott's wish list, character builds.
Yep.
And then probably get into one of the supplements that I wrote.
Yep.
So.
All right. So what I did, and I don't know your picks. Sorry. So I just went through, did mine. I thought, afterwards we could discuss the differences in our picks or similarities. And I went through and just went in seating order. So left to right, top to bottom.
Okay.
So starting with Travis, I think he's going. So this is partially what I want, partially what I feel they're going to do. So it's kind of tempered. Each side is tempered by the other. While I think Travis is having fun with spellcasters. I think what we're going to see him do is be a fighter and go Eldritch Knight. I think he's going to do a half caster.
Well, Eldritch Knight would be a third caster.
A third caster, you're right. But that's what I think he's going to do. I think there's a lot of new books coming out right now, and so some of this is influenced by that. I think they're going to maybe play something new. And I think he's going to be a Dragonborn and possibly a Gem Dragon. Now for him, for the background though, and this is kind of also leaning into the moving towards a caster, is either Sage or Charlatan. And I think he's just going to kind of play that angle, like the student.
Okay.
He's a trickster. Thoughts?
Well, for one, you seem to be trying to guess what they're going to do. And mine was, how am I going to challenge them? But,
well,
yeah, I could see that.
With Travis, definitely, but some of the others, it's leans a little more the other way.
Because mine was a gnome wizard.
Gnome wizard. That has a lot of potential. And honestly, I think he'll get there, but I think he's doing baby steps. Laura, now I know the other week I had talked about her being a bard and stuff, and I would love to see that. That's my number 2 choice. We all know with Laura, we know the whole Laura Bailey harp music thing, but we also have all the cast jokes about you don't want to catch Laura's ire. You don't want to get on her bad side. I want to see her play up the bad side. Campaign 1, she wanted to be a rogue. Liam took rogue. Campaign 2, she wanted to be a warlock. Travis took warlock. Both of them multi-classed into paladin. So I want to see her go paladin right out the gate.
Oath of Conquest?
Either vengeance or ancients.
Oh, okay.
I think that she is going to be a high elf.
Okay.
Partly because of how excited she was when she found out they only need a 4-hour long rest.
Oh, yeah. That's.
And I think she will either be a far traveler to Marquette or a merchant and go back into the group banking business of the character, controlling the funds.
I also had that she would be a merchant.
Okay.
As the background.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I think she is most comfortable in that. And it's sort of what everyone enjoys seeing her do.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right.
Liam, I went cleric. And that's based off of my theory that I mentioned on the show, about his statement and reading into it, but I don't feel really reading into it. I think it was pretty well implied. We've had clerics in both campaigns. We've had 3 clerics.
Yeah.
War, trickery, and grave. He's going to twist it. He is either... I want to say he's going to play a blood domain, but he may play a life domain. It'll be one of those 2. He's going to be he's going to be an elf. He'll either be high or sea elf.
Okay.
And he will either be...
So if Laura and Liam are both high elves, does that mean we're going to have another set of twins?
No. Okay. I don't think they're going to be relatives again.
Okay.
But I do think they will both be elves.
Okay.
If he goes blood domain, he'll be a hermit. I want to see him be a hermit. I think that would be interesting. If he goes life domain, I really want him to be a charlatan and just play up the, use a spell slot to heal someone and then sell the snake oil kind of thing.
Huh. Interesting twist, yeah.
Yeah, I think that could be fun.
I think I had Liam as a cleric as well.
Okay.
Right now I'm drawing a blank in my head for his background, but I wanted him to play up the faith angle from the beginning, whereas Vax found his faith,
right,
and Caleb arguably also found a faith of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
The challenge that I wanted to give to Liam was from the beginning. You were a man of faith.
Yeah, I mean that would be cool. He's gonna be the sad boy edgelord. All of his characters have that aspect to them, even most of his one-shot characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, the blood magic, and that's kind of why I want to see him do a blood domain. For Sam, I think things are going to go different. Liam seemed really excited. Liam finally took ownership of the trope of him picking Sam's character. He's always been a small race. He's not really been a martial character. While Rogue isn't inherently the spellcaster, he's been a spellcaster.
Yeah.
He's going to be a barbarian, I think. And again, we've had barbarians in both campaigns. I think that's going to continue.
They're good tanks.
They are.
And I think I chose Goliath or Dragonborn.
Okay. See, I think Liam's going to take the messing with Sam a bit. Or this is what I would love to see. Not what I think. This is what I would love to see. Okay. Sam is so good on coming up with stuff, and he plays the long game. He remembers little things from the past. I want him to be a Kenku so that he can only repeat and do impressions of everybody else. So I think he's going to be a Kenku Wild Magic Barbarian.
Hmm.
And I have Hermit or Outlander for the background.
Okay. Interesting. Do you think? Well, Kenku aren't technically small creatures.
No, they're medium.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be a small, quote unquote, small creature.
Okay.
And while, yeah, you could push the envelope and give him something like Goliath or something with powerful build. Again, I don't know that we're going to go throw to the extremes.
Well, and again, my list was predicated on something we've never seen out of them, and that might be challenging, but also I want to see the interplay of Travis playing a small race and Sam playing a Goliath.
That would be fun. And I think these would challenge them. The Kenku would definitely challenge Sam.
A Loxodon with Exandria Unlimited, that is a possibility.
It is.
And if that happened, I could see Sam taking some lines from the Thundercats episodes.
Oh.
Because Matt was Lion-O.
Yeah.
I think he was Lion-O. Or Tigra.
No, he was Lion-O. Wilfred Dell was Tigra. Yeah. So yeah, I think he's going to be a wild magic barbarian.
Okay.
Ashley is the one who I have for a bard.
I think I also did bard for Ashley.
And I think she's going to be a spirit bard. Or I'd like her to be a spirits bard. I would like her, and I think that she's going to play a race from Wild Beyond the Witchlight. She is either going to be a fairy or a Herringon, and she's going to be from the Feywild.
So you don't think
I don't think she got her impression. The impression I got from her when she ended in the Exandria Unlimited wrap-up is that she really wanted to explore
the Fae,
being the Fae more. Okay. So I think she'll either be a fairy or a Herringon.
Right
on. And then I have either Grinner or Folk Hero for her background.
Right
on. For Taliesin, he likes to play Matt's things. I have a Warforged, and I have him being a Runechild Sorcerer. And the reason I say this is because early next year, we're supposed to be getting the revamped Tal'Dorei campaign setting, which is re-releasing the Runechild Sorcerer, the Path of the Juggernaut Barbarian, the Blood Cleric, all that stuff. The Kobold Soul Monk, from the original, updated, are 4 of the 5 repeated subclasses that are going to be out of the 9, 5 repeated. So I think, those will be. I think he'll be playing that, and then I've got either, depending on how he plays the Eormaton, either Sage, as in he's just a data of the history of Eor, or Urchin, because they're basically coming into a world they don't, having to live as and figure things out, kind of.
Well, Hermit has the discovery
Yeah.
feature. So I think a version of that. Although I think I chose that for Sam.
Okay.
Because, like, the gnome bard ended up being sort of the linchpin of campaign 1.
Yeah.
And in a lot of ways, campaign 2 found its pace and footing when we got into Veth and Caleb's backstory.
Yeah.
And a lot of the dramatic tension in the latter 45 episodes was, how long is Veth going to stay?
Yeah.
So, and that's why I think Sam could carry that baton from the beginning.
Yeah.
With the hermit background.
Okay, I can see that.
Or Taliesin could do it too, but
yeah, I think, yeah. So that's what I have for Taliesin. Last but not least, for Marisha. Now, Marisha has an avatar thing for avatar, which who can blame her? Definitely portrayed in the druid and the monk and the Ashari, but she also is pretty enveloped in the world. Her character usually.
Yeah.
Whether it's going on the Aramente or being part of the Cobalt Saul. I think that she's going to be the rogue. Set in Marquette. And she is either going to be a thief or a mastermind rogue. And that will depend on if she takes the noble or merchant background.
I can see that.
And then she will be either a Ganassi, and my pick would be fire, or, especially if she goes the thief route or merchant, the changeling, which exists in Exandria because one kidnapped Tyrion. And that would be really cool to see her like being the merchant thief who looks like two different people when she's being the thief or being the merchant.
Yeah.
Or even the noble and a changeling, and could be a reverse Aladdin.
Yeah.
So that's what I think Marisha's going to be. What I'd like her to be.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's exactly why I chose Mastermind. The thief I put in there, and I was thinking about just because I think Marquette is going to have a lot of thieves, and I think it would fit in very well.
Uh-huh. The only thing, the only knock against it, and why it probably isn't going to happen, is I think that treads too close to Bo. Because Bo had the criminal background.
Okay.
And was Dexy, so...
Yeah, I can see that.
And thus far, they've purposefully tried to do things that are not evocative of the previous character.
True.
But this is campaign 3. We either will find them falling into a comfortable
Mm-hmm.
play style, or continue the challenging
Yeah.
aspect of pushing to be different.
Yeah. The other reason I went rogue is because I was thinking about it, and honestly, after druid and monk, it's one of the up there as the more versatile class.
Yeah.
More, which she likes. Thief, part of the reason I thought of that it would fit, is it would give her some of that monk's, like a little taste of that monk that she likes so much. Because it would give her the bonus action dash. As a thief, it would give her a climb speed.
Yeah.
But yeah, it could be too much like Bo. But then again, depending on how she plays it, it could be just enough to keep a taste of that thing that drew her to the monk.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and Mastermind or Inquisitive leans into her note taking.
Yeah, and especially as if she went noble, it was part of the, or even merchant, it was part of the aristocracy of Marquette.
Yeah.
Which would also allow her to step into the leadership.
Yeah.
Which, and she may not take full leadership, but she's always like right there, right behind the, she's always the counselor role.
Yeah.
I'd like to see her push that and step into the actual leader role.
It's fair. And that's everyone, right?
Yeah. For Taliesin, I said a Warforged sorcerer, the Rune Child, playing things that Matt likes, or Matt's created, being the new rendition with Warforged just being introduced, and the Rune Child sorcerer being re-released with the early next year release of the Tal'Dorei campaign setting upgraded. So anyway, those were my picks. Yeah, I'm not sure that Triton. I mean, it may, just because where we're at, it being kind of like near the ocean kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. Makes it more likely, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But we'll see. We might have. Did we met a Triton on Exandria? There were Marrow, and there's Water Ganassi.
Well, when we were speculating on what the gentleman was, I thought he was a Triton.
Right.
So.
You may be right. Off the top of my head, I don't entirely remember. Who do you think would play the Triton? Yeah, I think that's true. The 13-year-old. Who would you like to see play the Triton Rose? Yeah. Can be a good.
Talos and Ashley. Yeah.
Yeah. I could see that.
Shall we
move into Immortal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So we mentioned last week about possibly doing an overview of either Star Wars Worlds of Darkness, which we played before, or Immortal Quest for Victory, a hack for World of Darkness to play Highlander-style Immortals. I knew I was going to do that. Trying to get it so you guys, we can see when you comment something and also still be able to read it. Like I say, for playing Highlander style Immortals, and I don't, and a lot of the stuff that I write for modules stuff for us, I very rarely put in fluff text. But in this I do. So I've got this letter from the Egyptian. And there's a couple, like, I very much tried to model this on a World of Darkness book. So at the beginning of each section, there's a little blurb.
Gotcha.
To fit them into the World of Darkness, and also using the TV show starring Adrian Paul. This is the origin of Immortals in the World of Darkness, and it has to do with, the idyllic time, Garden of Eden sort of idea,
right?
And the falling of the veil, the gauntlet from Werewolf the Forsaken, and then Mage, the Awakening, and Atlantis, and sort of the idea of the Promethean as well. Sort of, I used all those as touchstones. To help, no matter where you're coming from.
Gotcha.
To understand where these guys are coming from. And Atlantis was destroyed by Immortals fighting it. Spoiler alert. And it's actually taken from that part was inspired by an episode of the TV show where Adrian Paul is in a courthouse trying to save a little girl. I think she's the judge's daughter.
Okay.
And he tells her a story about a great white city. And all this, and like if you sort of blur your eyes a little bit, you could definitely interpret it as he's telling her a story of Atlantis.
Right.
And an immortal being from there. But yeah. The Gathering, why the Gathering exists, Atlantis. what it means to be quickened. Immortals eat, drink, breathe. Like they're very much human,
Right.
but apart.
Yeah.
You can't be a part of it. You can never. You always have to stay at arm's length. And also the fact that you're being hunted by your own people. So I tried to capture some of the stuff that they go into more in the TV show than the movies.
Right.
Where Duncan has friends, and when they do the flashbacks of him first meeting them, there's always this: are we gonna?
Yeah.
we're gonna cut each other's heads off right now, or okay, cool, we're cool. Or when the friends go bad.
Yeah. Or
they have a legitimate disagreement about something. And that's usually done in more the samurai movie story structure, where these are both honorable men, but the choices they have made have put them on opposite sides of this issue.
Right.
And it's going to come to blows. And basically, their society, such that it is based around two covenants. Gatherers and their empowerments and their special attribute, where mages have gnosis, werewolves have primal urge, theirs is quickening. Empowerments are their abilities.
Right.
So yeah, you can spend merit points to up your quickening.
Right. Just like anything else. So what kind of empowerments did you give them?
Okay. So they're okay. We can skip to that, I guess.
Oh,
so they have a preferred empowerment from their covenant and one from their path.
Okay.
And then they get to choose where they want. So they get one in life, one in the quick, and one where they want. The enlightened are the ones who seek to protect humanity and guide them through time. And there's the Hagiazo, who their preferred empowerment is magic. And their magic empowerment is essentially their gnosis, and they can learn spheres of magic.
Okay.
And they're the ones who protect, build holy ground sites.
Okay.
Their thing is they really don't want to be a part of the game. The monk in the show, Darius, that's his name. It was a good example of the Hagiazo. Guardians, this is what Duncan is. They're the protectors. They get an extra dot of stamina, and their preferred empowerment is the quick.
Okay.
And the quick is the empowerment that manipulates the quickening.
Okay.
Keepers are the leaders, I guess. They're the ones who take up leadership positions in both immortal and mortal society. Their preferred attributes manipulation, and preferred empowerment is magnetism, which has powers that mimic, like dominate and majesty from vampire.
Gotcha.
Then the gatherers are the bad guys. There's the defilers, who seek to destroy holy ground and take away the hiding places. And their preferred empowerment is reticence.
Okay.
Hunters are the bad guys, the guardians. They seek out heads.
Gotcha.
This is what the Kurgan is.
Okay.
Preferred attribute strength, and preferred empowerment perfection. And then dominators are the bad guy leaders.
Okay.
Preferred attributes presence, and preferred empowerment is sense. I do have rules in here that you can change your mind.
Okay.
So you can change your path within a covenant or change covenants.
Okay.
And it has to do with XP debt and stuff like that. But it's possible because you do see it in the show.
Gotcha.
Merits, blending looks. You're harder to remember.
Right.
You just sort of blend into everything. Quick memory. You have access to the collective memories of all the immortals whose quickening has gone into building your quickening. So every person whose head was taken by the guy who you took his head,
right,
you can gain access to those memories.
Yeah.
Scarless, you do not scar. Immortals heal quickly anyway, but they can still scar.
Right.
And we see that with the Kurgan in the movie.
Yep.
He has many scars, and then he's still got the big one that Ramirez gave him.
Yep.
So, immortals only can up their quickening with quickening experience.
Okay.
Which is only gotten when they take somebody's head. So unlike werewolves or vampires or mages who can up those attributes with
right.
XP normally, or with vampires just time, they have to take heads. And I have, of course, quotes from the films and stuff.
Yep.
And this is the quick reference chart. So here is a list of the empowerments in sort of the one sentence overview. Life is sustaining and healing the immortal's body. So anytime they take damage and they want to heal, that's the power they're using to do that. Magic, will worker, see Mage the Awakening. That becomes their gnosis.
Yeah.
Magnetism, the ability to sway the hearts and minds of others around you. Perfections boosts attributes.
Yep.
And the higher you go, the more attributes you can boost at a go.
Yep.
And they last a scene, I think, for most of it. Sense is sort of heightened senses, psychometry, that kind of thing. Reticence is the ability to hide not only items on your person, but your person in a crowd. And at the higher levels, you can actually make a roll to burn down and destroy or otherwise destroy evidence of your passage throughout your entire history.
Wow.
So if you've got somebody on your trail who's just digging up old stuff, you can make a roll at the higher level and all the evidence that they have will burn.
Won't disappear yet.
Yeah. And the quick is sensing and using quickening and quintessence.
Okay.
I don't know. Trait maximum stuff for anyone who's played World of Darkness. This will be very familiar. Another one of my letters. Several pages of rules and the game. Sort of why they only fight one-on-one, why they don't fight on holy ground. Because it's not just taboo, thank you. There's a mechanical reason why they don't.
Okay.
And it is, holy ground is always the victor. So if you cut off an immortal's head in a duel on holy ground, you don't get shit. Right. Not only that, you suffer the same consequences as if you had battled in a group, which is there can be only one victor. So if two immortals are fighting and third, the one who wins of the pair, say the pair wins, the one who didn't cut the head off is going to lose a point of quickening. As if they had lost their head. Basically.
Yeah.
So that's why you don't fight in groups and you don't fight on holy ground.
Gotcha.
So at life 1, sustain, you heal 10 times faster than mortals, and you can go days and days without water and weeks without food.
Gotcha.
Because you just live off the quickening. Healing yourself, you make a roll. Every success heals damage. So it's different than werewolves or vampires. This is closer to a mage's heal spell. So in some ways, it's arguably weaker than vampires or werewolves, but it's also potentially better because werewolves in that they have to spend 1 for 1,
right? Where
you can spend 1, make the roll, and possibly heal 3 or 4 boxes of damage.
Right.
Regenerate is as heal thyself, but now you can heal aggravated.
Okay.
Cost 2 quintessence. Unquenching life. This is the point at which you heal like a werewolf.
Okay.
You regenerate 1 bashing a turn, and you can heal lethal and aggravated damage immediately. And at 5, you now regenerate a lethal per turn, and you can now reattach severed limbs. So, magic we've touched on a few times. Magnetism, stoke the soul. Stoke passions. You choose an emotion that you want to cause people to feel. spend a quintessence, make the roll. And you can. This one affects. You can affect a large number of people. So this is the one where you can give a big speech and gather the torches and pitchforks. Command. This is the same as Dominate 2.
Okay.
From Vampire, this is where you lock eyes and you tell them what to do, and they do it. Entrancement, this is the same as Majesty 3 from Vampire the Masquerade, where you basically make willing servants of people. They're just so
enamored.
Yeah. Enslave, this is the same as Dominate 4.
Okay.
For Vampire, where just over time you continually manipulate and dominate them, and now they're your slave, basically.
Yeah, you have a thrall.
Yeah. And Sovereignty is the same as Majesty 5, where you activate it, and now no one will attack you. Everyone will defer to you.
Gotcha.
Perfection. At 1 dot, one attribute can be improved. And there are different roles for physical, mental, or social attributes. At 2 dots, 2 attributes in the same category can be improved. So you could do strength and dex, or intelligence and wits, or composure and presence.
Okay.
At 3 dots, now you can improve across 2 categories. At 5, 5 attributes across 2 categories. So this is, or at 4, and at 5, 8 attributes across all categories. So at 5 dots, you can improve all but 1.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it is for a scene. And you can go above your current maximum for 2 successes.
Okay.
Spending a willpower. Yeah.
Make it last a whole day.
Reticence. First dot. At this level, you can conceal small items on your person. This is why Duncan can walk around the city with a katana in his coat. And all of them in the show, all of them are pulling katanas, long swords, gladius out of their pocket. This is very much like Obfuscate. In plain sight, people stop noticing you. As long as you don't move much. Again, this is very much...
Tracks.
How long have you been there? An hour. I've mastered the art of being still and becoming invisible. Yeah, exactly. 3 dots through the world. This is where you start to... It becomes more difficult to figure you out.
Right.
So if you're clouding an investigation, you roll manipulation plus subterfuge plus reticence. Intelligence, subterfuge plus residence minus composure. If you don't want to talk about your past.
Gotcha.
1 set of footprints. You no longer leave traces of your passage if you choose not to. and people forget you were there. This is like Obfuscate 3, where you just vanish.
Right.
You're invisible until you do something. And then 5, The Who. This is the one where you can make stuff just go away.
Yeah.
Rivers will flood, burst their banks to wash away your old house. Whole sections of cities will burn to cover that you ever lived there. Yeah. And how far away you are from it determines how hard it is.
Gotcha.
Sense, heightened senses. This is like Auspex 1. Your night vision gets better, your hearing gets better, sense of smell. And there's plenty of examples of that in both the movies and the show. Empathy. Instead of aura reading, you get the same information, but you don't actually read an aura.
Right.
It's more like you feel it.
Yeah. Picking up on the vibes there.
Yeah. View the past. You get this is psychometry, where you can either touch an object or a place and get a sense of what's happened. And there's in the first Highlander movie, the best example of that is when Connor is in her apartment.
Yeah.
And you see him sort of taking the room, and then he starts going over and looking in all the places that she hit on. He finds the gun. He just kind of smiles and puts it back.
Yeah.
Telepathy. You can read surface thoughts. And omniscience. This is where you can know about everything about a place or a person. The quick sense quintessence. This allows you to sense other immortals with 1 success. You can sense mages. You can sense werewolves. You can sense the Prometheans and werewolves.
Okay.
Because all of the energies are sort of similar, but you have to have more successes. Like, you have to have 5 successes to sense Vitae.
Right.
And 3 for werewolves and mages. At 2, you charge your weapon or your body. So you have your quintessence flow into your weapon. This is how you get the effects of 2 immortals as their blades touch, sparks fly.
Yeah.
And you can basically each success you add becomes aggravated damage that you can either inflict, or if you charge your body, that you can soak. And you can split for each activation. 3, you can harvest quintessence.
Okay.
And this either out of a node or a locus. So you just, like a mage or a werewolf, you just pull it out. Which puts them in conflict with those supernatural beings.
Right.
Because they don't like their resources being taken.
Who does?
So, yeah. But also it sort of behooves you to protect your own resources in that sense.
Yeah.
4 dots is an arc of quintessence. You can now shoot electricity.
Okay.
It's electrical damage, so it's just bashing. But it can roll over quickly. The quick and the dead. This is the ultimate one. And this is where you can make another immortal or give up your immortality.
Oh, wow.
And to make another immortal, you basically are charging that person with quintessence over the course of the ritual. It's extended. And like the universe tries to kill them as you go through this. Because of course, to become an immortal, you have to die violently.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then to give up your immortality, you have to spend a dot of willpower before you make the roll. And if you succeed, all of your quickening goes out into the world and bestows immortality on a number of people equal to your quickening. There is some danger that your energies loop back and make you immortal again, subject to dying again. If you get an exceptional success, you are sure not to get it back.
Okay.
And you are rolling against yourself, so it's resolve plus occult plus the quick versus your own intelligence survival plus quickening.
Okay.
So, yeah. And then I have a quick example and of character creation and then combat, and how to calculate quickening experience and regular XP. Which, when you kill an immortal, you get a stack of both, based on their quickening and empowerments.
Okay.
And you get to choose how to split the empowerments XP between regular or quickening. Thus far, everyone has done the maximum they could into quickening for the empowerments, just because you're chasing that quickening dot.
Yeah.
But yeah. I've only ever had one real, quote-unquote, real success with the horror of the immortal.
Okay.
And that was right. With 10. Snoopy in the chat. When we were playing a Sengoku Jedi campaign, and he met an immortal, and we had the we're gonna kill each other or not moment, which was a lot of fun. But then the city that he was staying in caught on fire, and he had to go, and they found him,
right,
dug him out of the burned building, and looked down upon this charred corpse, basically, that was still alive and breathing, and terrified that he was about to lose his head.
Nice.
And it was the moment of, I could live through this kind of thing, and yeah, it was good. But yeah, thanks, Rose. I think it's fun. Everyone who has played one has enjoyed it, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say I haven't played one yet, but that's the impression I've gotten from watching people play them.
Yeah. This is a lot easier when we're sitting at the table. I'm just gonna put that out there. Anyway, that's all the time we have for tonight. And we will see you guys next week.
I guess.